What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed, born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And in today's video I will show you potentially the evidence that FINRA made some fraudulent activity, and I will show you the discrepancy in between allocated shares to several brokerages with the potential number of shareholders. And let's start first of all with this petition. On my previous video I've told you that you can sign this petition in order to make basically to show people that we have a lot of problems with naked shorting on the market. Next thing that I asked you to basically fill is this form, and it is the NextBridge share count. It is quite different from this form that was published on official NextBridgeHydrocarbons website, because right here we can see the difference in between brokerages, and the discrepancy in between the number of shares allocated with the number of potential shareholders and with the number of their shares definitely might show us the problem of this current broker that allows some market makers or some hedge funds to short the stock with synthetic shares. And definitely this might be very important evidence that we have a fraudulent activity, and probably this activity was covered by FINRA. So, and let me show you the results, first results of this survey. 11 hours ago, Russ, the author of this survey, published these results, and he said MMTLP count update 2,976 entries and 11,176 shares per entry, with the assumption that around 64,000 shareholders, that might be about 715.264 million shares, that were in the filings at the very end of trading date of MMTLP. And Bird Lady made a video right here, and she excluded two major shareholders from this count, and she has about 388.623 million shares that was in filings during the trading halt. And I have to say that it is very rough estimation, because we don't have the exact number of shareholders. Right here you can see 65,000 shareholders, and Russ counted about 64,000 shareholders. On top of that, we have a standard deviation of about 34% that definitely might bring a lot of different results in this number. And I have to say that the only thing that we might say for sure is that the number of shares during the trading halt on December the 9th was much higher, at least 2 times higher, that number of shares of NextBridgeHydrocarbons. And let me show you that the total number should be 165,472,241 shares. So, and I have to say that I pretty much agree with other 3 numbers of discrepancy in between allocated shares to major brokerages and in between the number of shares from this survey. And let me show you right here that Bird Lady divided the 53 million shares allocated to TD Ameritrade by the total number of shares, 165.5, and she received this number, 33.8%. And I have to say that I make my own calculations, and the number is 32.03% if you divide 53 million by 165.472 million. And according to this data, we can count the total number of shares. The percentage in between total number of shares and shares on TD Ameritrade brokerage, we can find the 30.95% that should be allocated to TD Ameritrade. And it is quite low discrepancy of 3.49%. And Lady Bird, as you can see, she found out that the discrepancy is 5.295%. And next two brokerages are Fidelity and E-Trade. And right here you can see that she received much bigger discrepancy between 19.2 to 7% and 12.689% to fidelity, and 11.732 and 7.855% of E-trade. And I redo all the calculations, and I found with this latest update that was made basically just several hours ago on January the 2nd. And right here you can find the discrepancy for fidelity and for E-trade is much higher, 35.69 for fidelity and 30.19 for E-trade. So it's quite weird numbers because fidelity and E-trade received less shares from AST, less than they have actual shareholders. Right here we can see the percentage of the shareholder according to this data, and the number of shares allocated is 35.69% lower and 30.19% lower. So you might think that it is exactly at the border of one standard deviation, and let me show you that if you don't know, the one standard deviation or one sigma plotted above or below the average value on that normal distribution curve would define a region that includes 68% of all the data points. As you can see, one standard deviation to the upside is 34.1% and to the downside exactly the same, 34.1%. And we don't have a lot of data, but these two numbers are at the edge, at the lower edge of one standard deviation. This one exactly fits the criteria, but this is a bit lower than one standard deviation. And if we will see further discrepancies with other brokerages, definitely we can assume that something's wrong. And this potentially shows us that these brokerages will not receive the shares needed in order to distribute among all the existing shareholders. This means some other brokerages filed at the date of halting MMTLP stock a lot more shares, and this means they received much more shares to quote-unquote cover these shares. And this means we have pretty much the evidence of this type of activity, and I think everything should be investigated in the lawsuit, and this means I think we are on a right way to find out who was the beneficial from this fraudulent activity, which brokerages violate the SEC and FINRA rules and added synthetic shares to the market. And I have to say that these numbers are quite interesting, and I will do another update potentially with more evidence of fraudulent activity. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit notification bell and hit the like button. On top of that, please share this video among all of your social medias, because the more people know about this problem, the less chances money makers and hedge funds have to steal money from the retail community. And we have to work together in order to help each other to prevent this fraudulent activity. So, see you guys and girls next time. Bye.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap, only got